Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the 261-piece thread repair kit from AKM. Can't say I've heard of AKM, but I found this kit on Amazon for just under $100. And so I picked it up and I want to share with you what you get in this package here and why I picked this up. So this is a thread repair kit that is intended basically as like a helicoil or a time cert. There's a number of different variations of those that you might use to repair a damaged thread. And so this kit here includes both SAE and metric all in one case. And I like the idea of having a case like this to have all these in, because I think once you get a couple of these, you'll end up with a few more and a few more and a few more. Having a case that organizes them together, I thought seemed like a good idea. Right off the bat, I can tell by looking at this hinge here, I don't see a pin. So I think I'm going to be a little disappointed off the bat that there's already one element here that I think they cheaped out on. So let's pull the handles apart here and lift up. Oh no, this is actually not looking good as it is. Maybe it's just from shipping. Let's turn this sideways here. And so what's included in here is we've got on the SAE side, half, 7/16, 3/8, 5/16, and a quarter. And then I've got to put a few of these parts back over. Some of these should be relatively self-explanatory for where they go. You can see here is an SAE. This is one of the helicoil insert tools here. It clearly says SAE on it. What I'm not seeing is it's showing exactly the size. And there's obviously going to be a hex key required to put that collar on. And maybe that's why it popped off. We'll get back to that. And then we also have a tap. Now that tap that's included in here should be slightly oversized. And this says 5/16-18, so 5/16, 18 threads on that. Let's see. There we go, that's down. There's a couple of these inserts, so this is basically, you're going to over drill the size of the hole, then you're going to put one of these in. It's kind of like a spring that creates the new threads for the hole. I'm not sure exactly what size these are. As you saw, some of these little packages here, it opened up a little bit. I suspect they're from the SAE side. I think that's what I caught. Over here we got some instructions and a hex key. This hex key is what we're going to need to be able to adjust these collars. And over here on the metric side, oh, here's another tap that popped out. Hopefully that goes there. This one is labeled as a M6. And that actually goes right there. So on the metric side here, we've got M12, we have M10, M8, M6, and M5. So I thought this was a nice selection of these tools and a nice way to organize them together just to be able to keep track of them. Obviously, there's a few concerns about how well the inserts are all stored and the way that they snap into the case. I like the concept for how it comes. So I hope that this works well. Obviously, hopefully your luck is a little bit better, because I can see maybe this has a little issue with this collar being a little loose, and maybe it didn't quite shut right. That caused some of these packages here to pop out. Now that I've got this case cleaned up here, let's talk a little bit about a few things that are not included in this set here. So not included in this set anywhere is just to start with a really basic one, is a spot for the hex key that you use to adjust the adjustment collars. It came just loose in the package. It'd be nice if there was a specific spot for this hex key. I like that they include it. If they would have put some sort of place that you could specifically set the hex key, would have been nice. Another thing that is not included here, you've got a number of these taps, which is fine, but what's not included in here with these taps is an actual tap holder, tap adjustment. Now I happen to have a set of these tap sockets, which I think are a wonderful addition to any mechanic set, that with a little bit of trial and error, you can find the right size tap socket for any of these taps to be able to put in. But that is not included in the set. So if you already have a tap and die kit, you likely are off the hook because you already have a tap wrench. Because it's really important that you get these to go in square. And the other thing to pay attention to with these drill bits is these are going to be over drilling the size of the hole to be able to fit in these time certs. So the hole that you have that's already stripped, which is obviously why you're using one of these tools here, It's going to have to get a little bit bigger. So make sure you got enough tolerance to slightly enlarge the hole and that you pay attention to the depth of the hole that you're drilling. And I don't see any sort of a depth reference. I mean, to some extent there is with these setting tools, because these are the tools that you use to actually set the time cert, thread insert, whatever you want to call it. Also not included in here is any tap oil that you would use or grease to put on your tap or your drill bit to lubricate that when you're actually setting up the hole. Another thing is to make sure that you know which one to use. So you need some form of a thread checker to make sure you're grabbing the correct size for your intended hole. You know, so if you're using an M6 or an M8, that you know exactly which one you're reaching for. Like I said earlier, it'd be nice if some of these tools here actually said the size on them. Like this set here just says 530, I'm sorry, it says SAE. And then the drill bit, if we look at the bottom here, the drill bit here does have engraved on it HSS, high-speed steel, 1/4 inch. And so that's marked for 1/4 inch. And the associated piece that it goes with over here is for 1/4 20. So that should be just slightly larger than 1/4 inch to accommodate that 1/4 20 insert. So just pay attention to that. I'm not convinced these sizes, what's marked on here is correct for what the drill bit size actually are. I think it's marked intended for the size of the time cert that you intend to use. And the same thing is true for the taps. That this tap here, which goes with the 1/4 20 set here, is marked as 1/4 20. And this is just a faint laser engraving here. It's clear to me this is just going to rub off with very minimal use over time. After the first use, that would be worn off. So before I actually start drilling, I'm going to actually pull out a set of these thread checkers that I know are the right size. I'm going to go to my M6, and I'm going to check this against the M6 certs over here to make sure that this indeed will be the right size. Now, it would have been nice if some of these had a slightly different depth on some of these smaller ones, that you may not need quite this depth, especially for some smaller things like small engine repair. I can tell already right here that is the right size, so this is indeed an M6 that matches up with my M6 known good right here. So this is the size that I need, and then I'll be using the associated parts that go with this M6. So I've got the drill bit, I've got the tap, I've got the set tool, and then I've got the knock tool. This is meant to remove the tang that is down inside here in the back here, because that tang is going to be used to set it with this drive tool here, so you can kind of thread this in and turn the set after you've tapped it. So the sequence of operations is going to go to drill the hole, and then you're going to tap the hole, and then you're going to take the time cert, and you're going to put this in tang side down into the slot here. That'll go on just like that. Then if needed, you can set this depth collar to make sure you don't set this too deep. So for example, if the threads have an opening below, that you've got an ability to not screw this too far through. And then once you get that set, this will pull straight out. And then you've got this punch tool here to then punch down to be able to knock this tang out the back. Now, there's obviously going to be some applications that knocking it out the back may not actually work if you don't have something to get it out the other way or turn it upside down. And so if that doesn't work, you might want to have one of these extendable magnet tools or another magnet, because you can see that this is a magnetic element. And so hopefully a magnet would be able to get the loose tang out after you punch it out. Or obviously if your hole is shallow enough, you might not have to punch it out at all. That'll be your call on the job that you're working on. And then make sure you clean everything up. I'd obviously make sure that you recommend that you use a little bit of cutting oil or grease or lubricant on the drill bit and the tap as you're working that into place. And that's that. And now that we got the setup here, we're going to go over to the mower and we're going to begin the process. So here I am over at my mower, and I've got my exhaust manifold mounting points here and I've got a hole here and here that I need to be able to use this kit on. And so what I've done is I've taken a little bit of duct tape to seal over the opening so that I don't get any extra shavings into the exhaust. I want to protect my engine as best as I can. And then now the next thing is I'm going to lay down just a little bit of a blue shop towel under here to help catch any debris that comes about. I've got the drill bit here put into a drill. And then I'm also going to use an oiler, and I'm going to make sure I oil, put a little couple shots of oil here. Into the holes there. So I want to drill those out here first to get started. There we go. Here's a look at the drill bit afterwards. Definitely some metal shavings on it. We'll set that aside onto another blue shop towel. And then now comes the tap. I'm going to use that with a tap socket. And I'm going to use that with one of these ratchets that is a center pivot. And then I'm going to lube up my tap. I'm going to use a little bit of grease. See if I can get the grease around just a little bit there. And now with my tap all lubed up, I'm going to try to get my tap in here as square as I can, the hole that I want to make. And then it's just a matter of just slowly turning the tap. I'm letting the tap do the work for cutting these new threads for the time cert. And now with my tap cleaned up, I'm ready to go on to the other hole. We'll check if there's any burrs here I want to get off just before I get this all set up. Again, hopefully you can see all the shiny stuff on the shop towel here for why I've got the shop towel down. And make sure I get this started square. All right, there's that tap out. We'll set that aside and clean that up later. Now we're going to go into the parts bin here and get out one of our time certs. Then I'm going to take the insertion tool, which is what looks kind of like a J, if you will. I'm going to put the tang to the bottom. Now I'm going to start over here to insert this just by turning it in, just like I would a screw. There we go. That one's in. Then we'll do that one more time. And then there, we got that one in. Now we're going to pull out the tool. Now in this case here, the amount of threads going in, I'm not sure I'm going to need to pop that tang out the backside. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that in there. And then I just have to pop out the tool. Just like that. And then in this case here, I'm going to take the duct tape off. Use it to wipe any other debris off the side of the cylinder here. And now I can go back and put my exhaust manifold back on the side of my mower, just the way it's supposed to go. And now I've got two brand new threaded holes. That should put me back in business with my exhaust muffler. Found this video useful and interesting? Give it a thumbs up. Any other questions or comments, put it down below. Love to hear about it. Any other tips or tricks you've got for doing this? You know, there's a lot of hit or miss. These situations are never fun. No one ever enjoys getting out a kit like this. Let's just be fair and call a spade a spade. And when you've got to pull one of these out, I like the idea of having a whole bunch of sizes available at my fingertips, that I'm not having to wait to get another size, order it in, or whatever, because my local auto parts store don't always carry all these sizes. And so I think having this on hand is better than nothing, and I had to wait 3 days for this to come, and well, my yard really could have stood to be mowed about 3 days ago. So, well, back in business now. Got to finish this repair. So thanks for watching today, and have a great day. Bye.